So this is probably one of the more ambitious decks that I've done in a while. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. Let's get into it here. We got a King Belohun request. Now, I was a little bit inspired, we'll say, on some of the gameplay that I saw in the Gwent Master Season 1 when Life Coach brought the whole Drog with the poor infantries. So, I wanted to recreate that and have like a big Drog swarm, but I also wanted to give potential to having cards like Queen Meave pay off because I've been asked about that one as well. So it was like a 2-in-1. So to kind of go over the deck, Drog is going to help with a little bit more control, converting all the PFIs into Revenants, which will then give us a ton of duplicates for our side of the playing field, which then we can go and try and create more of to ultimately boost with Voimir to get really good value in that way. When everything's boosted, we just have the Queen Meave go down and just boost the whole board. So that's kind of the play. The alternative to the Drog play, if we don't have that in a round, is the King Full Test and the Dun Banner Swarm, more or less. So if it's a round 3, we can convert those Dun Banners into the Revenants. If it's round 1, we don't necessarily have to convert them. Either way, Pavetta's in the deck for either set of pairs, so we can actually do Dun Banner in round 1 and bring it back in round 2 or 3 for a bleed, or just to overtake them in a short round 3. Or we can put all the Revenants back in deck for an Erland in round 3 that will have immunity with its Adrenaline and just have a huge point carryover. Now, I have, again, versatility within the plays. You can go either way depending on the matchup, and you'll see that in some of the games today. I've tried a different couple methods of the play just because you can't roll it out always the same way every time. We have obviously Defender to keep things safe because there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot that needs to happen for it to work. It's a high risk, high reward gameplay. And Dandelion's just nuts because if we do the round 3 Erland and click, we have all this carryover from Dandelion into the deck to make the Erland even better. So that's kind of why Dandelion's in there. Of course, John Natalis to pull our Amphibious or our Smoke 'em Out. Smoke 'em Outs are great because we have the ability to get more boosted units on the row for our leader and for our Lyrian Scytheman in the bronze end. Now, I would have put 2 Scythemen, but I did tech in a Siege Ladder here just so that we have the ability to put the Dun Banners on the second row or the Revenants on the second row if we start to fill up the first row. So that's kind of why that's there. And then, of course, just to fill out the bronzes, we have Devotion, so we can capitalize on the Carrick Marine. The Redanian Knights are really nice with the King Belohun. All these cards in the bronze end get a little bit of a boost when we play them with the Belohun. What's nice about it though is that if Belohun doesn't stick, we don't lose the game. It's just one of those cards that if you are able to get this down and get down 1 or 2 of these cards, especially the Redanian Knights, it's already got its provisions back. It's crazy, so I like it. It was pretty interesting, but this is the best way that I was able to make it work. I tried a couple different versions of the deck, and honestly, this one was just the best. Now, it's not like a meta list, so if you're looking for a try-hard deck, I certainly have other decks that are more in that category. This one's just fun to play. This is a way to play Northern Realms without having to play mages like every single other person. So again, if you want to try something new, give it a try, and it will surprise you because you can really overrun opponents in short rounds. So let's get into the gameplay, and I'll talk more about the play-by-play just so you guys are familiar with what sort of lines to take and whatnot. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe if you like the content because that's what keeps things going really strong. So I put up a contest a couple days ago for the best meme deck challenge, and if you guys have any meme decks, you could post a link in the community tab in response to the post that I made about 2-3 days ago. And it looked like no one was actually submitting any sort of admissions and whatnot, but it turns out I had it when people post links that it's held for review. So when I checked my queue, there was a bunch of links that you guys submitted, so I did go ahead and accept those so you guys can see each other's meme decks and stuff like that, just so you know what you're up against. Keep the competition fair, and I'd love to see what else you guys come up with. I'm going to be playing all these meme decks on video, choosing more like a tournament format and stuff like that, and then we'll pick the best one. The winner gets a card back and a game board of choice from the Play Gwent store. So let's get into the first game. We have obviously some sort of Thrive Relics type thing. We've seen this a lot over the last few months. Now, gotta play it smart. We gotta get points out there fast. So let's put down Ronvid, get that inspired, and then we can look to take out maybe a Dun Banner and get the full test online and see if we can just outpoint them that way. We want to create the big swarm so we have, again, that second one off the Pavetta. Seeing Pavetta in hand around one's really good. Now, there we go. Huge points here. And then we can go ahead and we can put down full test and put our stratagem on it. That's basically why I included the shield, because then it demands a heat wave. So we can either hit the full test with that, hit the Dandelion with that, hit the Belohun with that. There's a few different options here. Veil just wasn't enough. So there we go. Make sure you're boosting gold cards only when you put him down, otherwise you'll have another bronze spawned in your deck. So, you know, we put it on him instead of one of the Dun Banners. I mean, in a way that works, but you're losing points because it'll do it anyways. So now we have this engine online. It's 4 points per turn, and they haven't responded to it. I pretty much know if full test sticks, we win the round. There's not really much that you can do beyond that. So we want to look at the opportunity maybe to preserve some of what we've got here. So we've got 7 cards in hand. And I'm actually considering a pass here at 7 because I know how ugly this can get for them, right? We know that it's going to be pretty wild. The PFI is not bad to spend. We could throw a smoke him out just to play another card. But again, it's one of those things and we got to decide shortly here. Erlin's also another idea because if you think about it that way, we have just really good carryover for the rest of the game. Everything's going to be inspired. I figure since Erlin's a slow play, we take it nice and early rather than later. Don't let them catch up too much here. And now we have to decide if we want to actually keep cranking it or just get out of the round. I think it's safe to say at this point here, we got 45 and counting. We got a few more spaces left on the row for more of the Dun Banners to come out, so we could just pass on that. If they're trying to play a She Who Knows, they're going to have to go down 2 cards. So it's still not enough here. There she is. It's, like I said, still not enough. 43. They would have to lead her effectively there to actually get ahead. And just another one comes out. And it's crazy because they have Thrive on the board. And they've got the Self-Eaters, you know, crazy amount of points. Cool thing about the Self-Eaters, guys, if you guys don't know this, a buddy of mine who I met through Twitch named Evades was actually the one who did the card reveal for that. So every time I see that card, I'm like, that's pretty cool, you know? But see, they had to play down twice and they still tied on, you know, 2 cards down. So 7 to 9, obviously tied round. We know it's sudden death and they got 10 points carryover. I don't know if I really care. They will hit Adrenaline faster, but I think we just have a lot of points. And if they don't have Heat Wave, then we should just win. The PFI, I think, goes away in this case because we're going to be pulling back the Dun Banners. And that's going to be a full row, so we don't want to get too crazy there. Now, it sucks that I have Belohun on the thumbnail for this video, but we didn't even pull him. It is what it is. There will be some other time in the video, I'm sure, that we'll get more play out of Belohun, but until then, we gotta roll with what we've got. So Dandelion's just the best engine here. If it gets Heat Wave, the Meave sticks. I'm thinking, yeah, let's just get the 1 point in deck. Now, the problem is, obviously, Dandelion would have been better in round 1, but we can actually use the Dandelion to boost one of the cards that we're going to be pulling. So we can use that to boost up one of the Dun Banners in deck, so we can Pavetta next, put them back in deck, and then start boosting them so that when they do come out, they're obviously going to take the points with them. So that's kind of one of the things that we're looking at here. Mamuna's huge, guys. What do they have for it? So it would have been the... Yeah, it would have been one of those.
It's
Massive.
not to lose your head.
And we put them back in deck first so that when we go for Dandelion, we can click one. Ta-da, right? Now, we can keep doing this for a while, or we can just pull out the Swarm quicker and try to get the Revenants going. It really depends. I think I kind of want to get the Revenants going sooner than later to get the most value from them. Just because they're putting down a lot of the prize stuff, yeah. We also want to see if we can hit Meve twice. So we'll just inspire her here. Normally if Meve's in deck when we play Erland, it works. You know, it's already boosted, or we can just use Dandelion to hit Meve in round 1 in deck, you know. There was consideration to use Pincer Maneuver Leader with this too, but I just, I wanted to greed it out a little bit. And do Inspired Zeal, or not Inspired Zeal, but a Uprising deck without just it being a Witcher's deck. There we go. Just boost another Dun Banner. Lovely. So the counter is ticking down on Meve, and it should hit twice, which is pretty wild. And I'm really glad I got this example for you guys, because when you play against Relics, they don't have a lot in the way of control. If they had a Heat Wave, they probably would have used it on Dandelion. Otherwise, they'd have to use it now on the Defender. So we just have to see if we can generate more points than them. And they did fill the back row. That's over with. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this because we want Meve to actually work on everything. It's just a lot of points, right? So we'll just go ahead and boost that one more, get a little bit more value, put down the Scythement. I waited a little bit longer because I wanted to get the Drog Flip and get the extra Scythement, so that's pretty well while we did that. When I look at the board right now, I know that they're probably not going to be able to play the last card unless it's a Heat Wave. And like I said, if it was a Heat Wave, they probably would have done it by now. So with the board being full, they might have a card that they can't actually play. So let's get this engine down there. And it doesn't matter at this point. I'm just boosting stuff in deck to show you that those points are still there, right? And they can't even play. That's climbing up. There's a little bit of a deficit here, but if you take a look, you get that front row, perfect. Engine on the back row with the soldier boosting by 1 every turn. Again, I'm just showing you guys with Dandelion, it makes absolutely no difference in this event if you use that or not.
Fall overboard and I'm not jumping in after you.
Just in case you're looking at maybe, is it really worth it to have him? I mean, he's ticking down. And then there she goes a second time. Guys, 10 provision card we made so valuable, and you can just boost whatever at this point. The game's in our hands. And I'm just showing you guys, like I said, for the content, just basically what it comes down to, an honest, true score. So if you saw any misplays in the game, it's whatever. We still took it by a long run. So 129 points we put out in a pretty long round actually, but you know, 2 rounds we were able to spit out that many points. Moving on to game number 2, we got Onslaught by Skellige. So this one should be a true test because their whole game style and play is to basically deny points, and ours is to make sure everything's boosted and keeping everything healthy. So I'm a little bit concerned about how we're gonna do in the long round 3, for example. So you might see a little bit of a push in this one. And luckily we're on red. Oh wait, no, we're on blue. I didn't see my mulligan for a second. So PFI goes back. I don't like to have both in the same round. When I see full test in hand and a Dun Banner, we're happy. So we just ditch the other set, and we'll try and do that whole Drog PFI play later, right? Dandelion coming down is actually really nice. We want to inspire him on the first turn we play him, so he does that first boost in deck.
Beautiful pair of legs, please.
This is a satisfying deck.
Mind your words and who you address.
Now the shortcomings are, if you're running into a lot of control matchups, they're very difficult to win, but if they're not really doing anything about what you play, you're good to go. So it really comes down to it. You saw with the Relics game, it was fine. They weren't interfering with our playstyle quite a bit. But if you're running into like a Reckless Flurry deck or even Bounty, that could be difficult. Stuff like that. Nilfgaard is probably horrible for this, especially with Imprisonment Leader. Precision Strike is also incredibly bad for this deck. I can imagine with their leader pangs, all the bombs and rebukes and all that side of crap, you know, it's like those are just the games you go next with this one. Now, Defender hangs on for its dear life. Does it get pinged here? Yes, it does, and it's uninspired, so we lose the armor there. That's fine. Don't really want to use Dandelion on a Dun banner. We kind of want to just keep that carryover for like later, you know what I mean? So if you're wondering why I didn't boost that up when we took it out, it's because I'm trying to establish carryover, and if we're boosting the Dun banner and then pulling it out, that's not really carryover. So Dandelion, all good things must come to an end. That's too bad. We want to respect the fact that we have to sort of get some tempo going here. Hopefully Full Test actually makes it. If Full Test makes it, we're in really good shape. And it's nice because like a Gunning Slash plays for 4 points, so it demands a Heat Wave. That's a good Heat Wave. For us, I mean, I don't mind that so much. Because we're going to be going super tall in a bit. Get that online because sooner, you know, than later, I guess you could say. Now, King Belohun, again, we missed him on the first draw for this play. I believe he's someone you could pull with Amphibious, right? It's 8 provisions, so that's always a consideration. But if I'm going to be pulling for Amphibious, usually I like to pull a bronze card.
Like some overseas plundering in springtime.
You see what I mean here? Big bully SK, they're just trying to damage everything that we have, and I'm thinking if I take out a Amphibious, then that's a really good, like, Morgvarg or something for them, so I'm trying to play a little bit slower here. There's not really a reason to play anything super big. We still have that one turn that we can Amphibious right after this. Or just take it now. Either way, I'm just looking back on what I did, but I don't think that's a wrong decision.
And it's all for me grog. Me knocking grog.
So denying Bloodthirst is always good. Keeps us up actually by enough, so that could be the pass that we're looking for. They'd have to play something pretty big to get back into it. Mushy Truffle, okay.
Best drown yourself with those damn
8. So technically that's a pass. We also have all the soldiers here, so it's not a bad idea just to push something back. Get a pretty good play here. I'm thinking that they're either going to have to spend everything and still not have enough. Because, like, if they go all in with their cards, like, I don't even mind going leader in this case. It's fine. Dagger's down. The boost's down. You see, we're getting some good commitments here. Leader. Cooldown. Doing some math here, we lose 2, it boosts by 2, we're down, so I decided to go ahead and take a bit of a bigger play. Actually, they would have been at 46 and I would have been at 47. So we didn't necessarily need to take that leader charge, if we're being technical here. But, you know, it doesn't really matter, because when I see that come down, then we're obviously going to just go all in here. And their combo, like, their big plays, like, that's the play. Morgvarg with the dagger. We've seen this before around the Master Mirror expansion. That was a really big combo, so... Ran out of steam, that's good. Like, I'm content with the trades that we made, even though leader's gone in this case. Not every game can run perfectly the way that you want it to. So I might actually pull something like the Royal Guard with Amphibious and fish for something like the Erland or the Pavetta or whatever. And manifested, we got it. I was really happy when I saw that. It's too bad Belohun's not in hand, man. So Queen Meave's inspired from the Dandelion in round 1. This is what I was talking about last game. We can just get the counter started, and because they played the Heatwave and they played the Morgvarg, I'm not really worried about what they're gonna do to remove the Queen Meave. So we can just let that cooldown start, and then we can even look at our deck and say there's a lot of cards in there. You know, maybe we can play Erland next, and then just maybe, depending yes or no, we can put down Amphibious, click Erland. We'll see how their board state goes.
I fish breath. How dare you, foul swine?
Suffering? Our suffering binds us.
And when you see that counter up to 1, I know it's not going to be super impressive if we only have the 2 units on the board. So if we're looking to actually push it all the way, what we'd be looking for in this case would be a PFI, because then it'll add a few bodies to the board, right? In this case, you'd use like a PFI. If you don't have a PFI, you'd go like maybe John into a PFI or into a Smoke 'em Out, sorry, and then you do it that way. But again, feeling pretty good here. Last Amphibious, we're pretty much committed here. We're committed. Row doesn't necessarily matter too much. I just didn't want them to have rain on 2 rows, so that's why I kind of stacked it that way. And if you look at the amount of points we just put out, it's sort of just like tripled in 1 turn, right? Erland goes up to 20. We've got 14 from the other 2, from the other 3 cards, and then we've got, you know, Meave doing her thing, so that's awesome. And so that's probably the fuchsia, right? Deciding.
Sacrifices must be made. On both
Deck
sides.
comes back. There's no rain in that case because he's 10 provision. There's the rain. Doesn't really make a difference because it damages itself by 4, but the rain's only going to tick for 1 turn, so they do get the points back off the dagger, but they're just sort of reallocating points rather than gaining points on that play. Argument to use the rain from the other guy instead, but either way it wasn't enough points regardless of how you did it. So good game. Let's move on to the next one. Here we have Double Cross, and I'm really tired of seeing this one. I tried to do a Nilfgaard deck today, a different one. I was trying to bring back Masquerade Ball and add a couple new things to it. To be quite honest with you, it just isn't working, and like I feel more confident playing this than I was playing like a Masquerade deck, believe it or not. So, you know, it's funny that
Did you think me blind to your desire for my
I want that archetype to work when it used to like haunt the game, but the new Assimilate and Nilfgaard in general right now, it's in a bad spot where there aren't many different ways to play the faction effectively. There's like 1 or 2 good Nilfgaard decks. So here we go. This is what you guys came for.
I know
King
the truth.
Belohun going down.
I simply want you to admit it.
We can just enjoy that. Now, obviously I want to put out Dandelion soon, but I also want to show you guys for the content basically what we can do here with the Belohun, because again, it was the request. So just so I can rattle off at least 1 play with him. There you have it. And then obviously Dandelion can go down sooner than later, just so we can start getting some value from that.
Her grace will not be pleased.
We hope they don't lock it or take it.
Not without good reason.
Got to inspire Dandelion too. That's the issue with this matchup, is there's a lot of cards that you just don't want to play because they can benefit from. Erland is really bad for us if they take it. Dandelion's really bad for us. their devotion, so even the Marines kind of suck if they take them. So I'm thinking at this point, let's just get this swarm started. It's a little bit more effective. No one said we couldn't save Dandelion for like a round 2 or 3 either.
You wanted a coup? You got one!
I saw something really cool when I was
And I shall show you mercy.
testing a different deck this morning. Someone used Codwell and flipped him into a Spectre with that 4 provision Spectre, the Curse Knight. And so they had a 10-point Curse Knight on their side of the playing field. It was pretty cool. So I'm thinking that's a good way to inspire Dandelion, but I still want to work on the swarm here for the Dunbanners, so that's why I just want to use the leader charge on that. It never hurts to just use the Dandelion here because we're still getting some good effect from it, and again, it's not the play, it's a play, so if we can use it once or twice, then I'm content with basically how it is. It still establishes 4 or 5 points of carryover. And then we want to boost something in deck that we can almost guarantee we're going to pull.
And it's all for me, Grog.
But it's not like, it's not the absolute be all end all because we have the Erland play too, right? So we have to decide pretty quick what the plan is. We have 2 soldiers on the back row and Dunbanner row is full on the front row. So if we want, we can actually go and we can put the siege on the back, move you know, the Dunbanner to the back, and then have it boost and bring out another copy, and then yeah, you see, and that just keeps us flying here. And we have to start thinking about a pass because we don't want to play Pavetta from here because we want to use Pavetta for the Dunbanners in round 2. Erland also sucks to commit here if we don't have to, so there's a consideration to actually pass. If we pass, we do lose the Dandelion boost in deck, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about at this point. Have to decide, because Erland carryover is not half bad here. Like, we could just boost everything in deck and be happy with that, right? Just kind of looking at what we have as far as the chance here, and pass is fine. What's nice is that if Erland is saved for round 3 and they have a Yennefer's Invocation, then you know, we can play with the adrenaline and protect the points. But the fact that they invoed the Dandelion, it could be messy for us later, but I'm glad it's just not a super tall punish or something. Pretty good hand. And so we know one of the cards is Dandelion, which I would have maybe argued to play first if you're going to bleed, but maybe they don't think we can do 9 points in 1 turn. Now, I have to stay ahead of them, otherwise they get card back. So if you're wondering why I took a subpar leader here, it's for that reason specifically. I valued it a little bit less than card advantage.
Bad feeling about this.
Valyria and Rivia! For the north!
Now, thinking, obviously they're playing into the round, so we did lose an opportunity to use one of the leader charges on the Meve, but again, it was one of those things where if I didn't do that, I felt like they would have passed.
I will not have you gaze at me so.
So I'm not too worried. We still have a chance here to go into the deck, pull something out to boost Meve, and then have that actually tick. So they pull into it early. So they're looking for a 2-0 basically. Last card's probably Terra Nova or something. See, I'm thinking about just dumping this because I don't know if they have enough points anyways. but realistically the safe route would be to go for like a Royal Guard or a Marine or something like that. So Marine is nice because of the deploy. Let's go ahead and use. And then the PFI gets 3 bodies on the board and she'll boost everything. So on a pass, you know, we should be pretty good. We should be able to keep 1 card. If they didn't do spines, anything better than that. So they click the Erlin, that's whatever. So 46 points. This goes down 7, 8, 9. We get the boost by 7. Well, 6. Yeah, all their units. So there you go. Took it by a point, calculated, it all made sense, so it's whatever, as long as we get there. Now, all the done banners are back in deck. We have Amphibious. So this hand's really good. So what we're gonna do is basically keep it. Because it's really risky when we take a Bavetta a little bit early. But I had confidence, man. Card advantage just is definitely good in this matchup here. So Defender goes down, we can click the Erland. Put the Royal Guard maybe behind the Defender. Yen has been used. Usually they don't run Heatwave and Yen. And if I see Mushy Truffle, then you could pretty much guarantee that there's no Heatwave. It's one of those things, especially Joachim too. Yeah. No, Joachim on front row kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Look at this. You see all those? That's crazy. Tons of points. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like too many of these things, man. So done banner, front row, click that, win game, click Erland, done. You see? Pretty nice. Moving on to the last game of the day. This one's more of a bonus game. I wanted to include it because I felt like it was actually a pretty cool concept. Maybe the delivery wasn't the best, but it's certainly an idea for the next time I decide to do something like this, and I'll see if I can make it a bit better, we'll say, or just a bit more optimized. Got a lot of swarming stuff here. Dun banners in full test. PFI could probably go back here. Or Amphibious because we have John. Don't necessarily have to play the PFI just because we're seeing it in hand. Now, no respect whatsoever for the Pred dive. I'm feeling pretty good today. It's one of those things, this whole deck is a risk, so let's just start it, see how it goes. Them putting that down first tells me that they probably don't have a Pred dive anyways. And Slizzard in a Fruits deck, I don't even know. I have no idea at this point. Are they doing like Vi in or Death Wish Fruits? Let's drop the Mighty King here.
Don't get reported.
Another consume. And you love to see it, man. Like, this card makes that knight playable. If we didn't have king, I wouldn't be playing knight, because otherwise knight is just too slow of a card to play. But the fact that it gets up to 6 on the end of the first turn it's played, and then it has that secondary effect, is quite wild. No way. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I put the game in here. This is crazy, man. We got Kelly coming down. Just, again, I didn't respect the Pred dive. They don't respect the Heat Wave. right? We're just going for it here. So certainly something you don't see every day. I'm glad I kept the PFIs because Belohun takes the Kelly, so now we can actually just sort of play around it a little bit for a turn or two and see where we can go from here. I guess what they're doing is using consumes to create a little bit of contrast on the board. I like the idea, and that's what I'm talking about, but I think it would be better with an overwhelming hunger deck, and I'd be willing to entertain it.
Temeria has yet to speak its last.
Amphibious for another one. We get the extra boost here, plus we're getting more tokens on the board, so now the Kelly has to chew through 3 1s, a 2, and a 3 before it gets to anything good. And then we can obviously look to go and start that Dun Banner Swarm here, because we're not converting the PFIs into Revenants in this round, so we kind of want something that's going to be good to Pavetta. So again, take a boost in deck. I'm thinking Erland, because if they're running Kelly, then they're probably running a lot of Tall Punish, and for what it's worth, having the Adrenaline is going to be really nice, because usually the Tall Punish they have is in the form of like a Wrath or a Heat Wave, not as much like a Curse of Corruption, because that could be something that's like played against them. Where's the Bloody Baron when you need one, guys? Holy crap. The cool thing about it is, like, if they decide to go and, like, if the board thing doesn't work out for them, they can just consume their Kelly. It's interesting. But you know what they didn't realize here? What they didn't realize is that they gave Kelly Doomed. Okay? And a lot of people right now are running double Kelly. So I'm just waiting to see how long it takes them to realize this.
If the kingdom aren't ahead, I'll
And that's
give yours.
pretty much one of the only reasons why we continue to play here, because I'm feeling pretty good. The critical mistake. So they're just going to proc Thrive on it, E to the turn. It's kind of like a 2-point per turn engine that they're getting off their leader too. Interesting.
These wicked mages.
We just go ahead and boost these 3. It's a sad Voimir, but the show must go on. Go ahead and boost something that's already a little bit tall. Not too tall though. We got to get out of the round, guys. We have to. I have to say, it's pretty clean. Like, watching their board state, like it's tidy, but it's risky. So we pass here because that's the only way. Let them play down to nothing here. We got some great carryover too. We didn't get a lot of done banners, but again, it's probably fine. You gotta start consuming those, don't they? 1 and 2 and there. Hard advantage, check. Leader intact, yes. Good cards in hand, certainly. Look at that. Look at that Royal Guard, man. 13 points, 14 on the back row, plus the 2 it plays for. Pretty wild. I would like to have Erland. Oh my god. You can't make us up, man. We always get what we want. So they pass on that. That's fine. That's fine. We can just play Pathetic here. Get back to Dun Banners. Now we can actually pull them with our Amphibious. Or maybe we even pull one in hand. Defender would be nice again. Just because of the Royal Guard. I wanted to tuck it away though, because I felt like Erland's a bit more valuable than Defender. We're boosting that for a reason. Here we could put that away because we have access to it. Smoke him out's fine. I guess it makes for a better Scytheman. And we'll just flex a little.
Alert! To arms!
Okay, here we go. Yeah, so they don't even realize at this point. Look.
Bad feeling about
So that's
this.
actually great. They pull out Belohun, they pull out Dandelion, but they don't have what they need. And looking at the hand that we have, there's no contest. See you guys tomorrow.